Now, what assets does Hamas have at this hospital that you know of, and how do you know it?
We have very strong evidence, intel, and also now in the ground. And we have shared this also with our partners around the world that have also affirmed this. Hamas is using these hospitals as their headquarters. They are hiding underneath weaponry, similarly like they're doing in schools, under kindergartens, and in many civilian areas, because they deliberately use those spaces, knowing that we follow our values and the rule of armed conflict, and refrain from striking those areas whenever that is possible. But as again you mentioned, and we have shown many times, Hamas is continuously using these to launch more attacks on Israeli civilians. We have now getting close to 10,000 rockets that have been fired at Israelis, and much of them come from within the hospitals where they are controlled and commanded. And that is why we need to get to them eventually. But we're trying to do that in the safest way for the civilians in Gaza.
Now, Hamas health officials are saying there's no power at Shifa Hospital and babies are dying. They've all been taken off incubators, they say. Although the photos, and I'm not going to show them on the air, it's a bit distressing. The photos have seen the lights are still on, for the photographer at least. So there does seem to be some power, but nobody wants to see babies die. So what does Israel do?
Nobody wants to see babies die on our side and on the civilized world. Sadly, Hamas does. That is why they have murdered babies in Israel, and that is why they wish to continue doing that. Because we believe that every life is sanctuary, and we need to do everything in order to do that. We have offered for the evacuation of the babies in many different ways, and we're continuously doing that. Sadly, the Hamas is not allowing that, as it did not allow the evacuation of other civilians from the area. Yesterday, we even took the risk of our soldiers bringing fuel to the hospital in order to continue in operating it in the best possible way for these babies and others to be as safe as possible. And so far, they're not taking that fuel. So we're doing everything in order to help those babies and others in need to be safe.
Now, hostages, there was talk of Hamas letting a few more go, half of them American hostages, dual citizens. Where are those talks up to?
So we're in day 38 with 239 hostages and dozens more that are still unaccounted for. And we're working in any way that we can in order to bring them back home safely, be it Americans or any other nationality. This is our main mission, including the mission to dismantle Hamas.
But I take it those talks have broken down. It seemed that Hamas was stringing it out, hoping to buy some pressure for a ceasefire. There's been no progress, I take it then.
We're following through on all different routes. The military is, of course, doing its work on the ground and from the air and the sea. And the diplomats are doing everything that they can in order for us to bring home these civilians that we must, again, remember that they haven't been visited by Red Cross or anyone else. And that is what they should be, treated properly in the best way and released safely home now.